O'Neill, 2 L's. I serve the SGC under a General Hammond.
We're explorers. You see, we're from another planet.
The unstable vortex of a forming wormhole. Kawoosh.
Indeed.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Kawoosh episode. I am your host Arne and I'm joined as always by my co-host Evie.
Hi.
And today we're talking about episode 6 of season 2 of Stargate SG-1, which is...
Did you have to think about what we're doing?
Yes.
Like, what were we reviewing again?
No, so this is the episode Thor's Chariot.
Which, sometimes we have episodes that have nothing to do with the title. This time, they name drop the title like 3 times in the episode, so...
This one opens with Sam briefing Hammond about something, I believe she calls it the Seeker Project?
Yes, they are looking at worlds between where the ships originated from and the trajectory to Earth, because they believe those are more...
Well, they want to put something there so they can spot oncoming Goa'uld ships. That's basically what they want to do.
Yep.
So, and then the gate activates, but they quickly close the iris and they hear a bang. Afterwards, in a briefing, Sam tells everyone that there was no organic residue on the iris, but they did find a radioactive signature. And they trace it back to the box they gave away on the planet of Thor's hammer, and it was supposed to go to Thor, or at least that's what I got from that conversation.
So it's a return back to sender kind of thing.
So they decide to send a probe through, and they find bodies and dead bodies, civilians, Jaffa, around the gate, and the Malp is panning, and they see Gerwin sitting there, the woman who helped them the first time.
You did skip over a few things, like Sam did it on purpose. Like, she gave the box a signature that she would recognize, so they could trace it.
There was a lot of
I know,
of exposition.
but I was like, oh, Sam is being smart. I like it when Sam is being smart.
Yeah.
And Daniel had a, I'm sure it's fine moment.
He always does.
He always does, but, it's still going strong. His belief hasn't been shattered yet. And, you gotta...
But yeah, you're right. Sam did explain that that they specifically did this so they could trace it or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, the camera on the Malp pans around and they see Gerwin sitting there. She has a dead body in her arms and we can see her pleading for help.
And then they turn the mic on, that's not how that works.
Well, no, then they cut to credits.
No, you have sounds, don't you? Or is that after the credits?
I'm not sure, but she is pleading for help.
Yes.
So when we come back from the opening, Daniel is bringing everyone up to speed. So he's telling them that Thor's hammer used to protect the world until they passed by and destroyed it. And now the Goa'uld are there. Hammond is playing devil's advocate and is asking, is it really their problem? But SG-1, one by one, step up and say it is their fault and their responsibility.
I think it's a bit weird for Hammond to play devil's advocate, but I can totally understand that they needed someone here to have them remind the audience what happened. And they do it in a fun way, because they're all like, I did this and this is why. And then Sam, all the way at the end, and I was also there, which was funny as fuck. She's like, and I was also there.
It was a bit of a I am Spartacus moment.
It was a bit like when in Hamilton, like, I died for him and I bring his chair in Act 5, so I am also part of this story, kind of, like that kind of vibe.
Yeah, but you are right that it doesn't really fit Hammond's character to be devil's advocate, especially about something like this.
And I think they could have fixed that by just giving it to somebody else.
Yeah.
But
I
then,
think it's just, who are you gonna bring in to be that person?
Yeah, because I don't think a random soldier has enough, has a rank to be like, or should we be doing this?
Yeah, and they do have this brilliant actor named Don S. Davies on the payroll.
I know.
Anyway, he caves and the team arrives through the gate and they are looking at a lot of death and destruction. They also, when they walk a little bit farther than the gate, see that the Goa'uld are building pyramids on the planet.
Yes, and that effect did not age well.
No.
I don't often say that because a lot of things in this show did age well or still hold up. But this one was... I don't even know what effect they used.
It was a CGI matte painting, but I believe they were trying to animate it.
I think so too, yeah.
And there was some aliasing going on and some...
Exactly, they wanted to show the ship not finished and an added piece of it while we
Yeah,
were watching, but something was not
Their
right
still
there.
images are a lot better than this one, but they were trying something new. They were trying to animate it, but they don't or didn't have the resolution, or at least on the DVD, they didn't
Could
have the
be,
resolution
yeah.
to really do it properly. But yeah, it did stand out. Gerwin arrives and she is surprised that they came. So she tells them how the gold arrived in their ships. She tells them about, I think it was, she says like light raining down from the heavens and stuff like that. So yeah, very dramatic arrival of the gold. And she also tells them that Kendra knew they would come if she sent the box through the gate. And the cost of doing that was high because those were all dead bodies they passed. Then the Jaffa arrive and a firefight breaks out. And the Jaffa chase O'Neill and Teal'c into the forest, but they can shake them off in the end and meet up with Sam, Daniel, and Gerwin.
At this point, we've seen the Jaffa's foreheads a couple of times, and it's very clearly a different sigil. And I kept going, Teal'c, you know who this is? Can you give us a hint? But like, it's not there yet. And I'm like, no, just tell us who this is. But it's coming.
It took a while.
Yeah.
They walk over to Kenra's place, since she was the one who knew they would come. But once there, it is revealed that Kendra is with Thor, so she's dead. Along with her family, and there are graves all around her house. And on that grave, they find the precious items of the deceased, one of which is a gold hand device. And Sam is attracted to it. She puts it on and she finds out she's able to use it.
And I really love that moment because Sam kind of goes into a trance and she picks it up and she puts it on flawlessly, which means that, Amanda Tapping...
Like a muscle memory thing, yeah.
Which means Amanda Tapping probably did that like 50 times before they filmed, because that was a lot of little thingies that have to fit on the fingertips and stuff. And it was very much like zoned out muscle memory thing. It was I was very impressed. Also, just noting that this is the first time it's not Daniel doing grave robbing, but it was with consent, so it doesn't really count.
It's not really the same.
I know.
Yeah, but she's not really able to control it because it seems to have a mind of its own. Daniel, of course, is very enthusiastic about all this.
And he's like, just concentrate, like Daniel.
Try the healing device next.
It's like you can't just walk up to a chopper and fly it either, Daniel. That's not,
Yeah, because she does try the healing device, but it does not work at all. Jack tells them they have to go to a place a little less public, so they leave and they go where the people are hiding.
And then the music plays, which I like to call Simple Village Track, because they always play it when they enter a village or like enter a society.
Is it the one with the flutes?
Yes, it's a very flute-like medieval kind of It's sort of like what you would hear in a video game when you're entering a new
You have entered the village.
Like, welcome to Hilltown, like something like that.
But in this case, it's a cave.
Yes, I know. Okay, Cave Town, I guess.
And a bunch of warriors immediately draw their swords because they recognize SG-1. They say they are from Midgarth and it's their fault that the Etin, their word for the gold, are there now. Then Jack tells them they can help them, and somehow it convinces them. Like, he doesn't really...
Well, I do think it helps that Teal'c solemnly swears that he's going to stay there until the gold are gone, because he feels responsible.
Yeah.
But it was a great character beat for him, because he doesn't always say a lot, but like he meant it.
And they convince one of the warriors to volunteer to help out spying on the enemy. And he's like the MVP of the...
Yeah, but he's
locals.
cool. Like, I wrote down later that he's really cool. He really plays his role very well, because generic NPC that tags along for a while can be so dull. But he really gives it a character and gives everything he does.
Only exposition and pointing at stuff, really...
and everything he does fits into his character. Like, you immediately know.
And there's a lot of humor.
Yeah, and his name is Olaf. He's great. We love Olaf.
So meanwhile, Daniel tries to calm Gerwin down. He's telling her Thor hasn't abandoned you, but he might just be far away. And she tells him about the halls of Thor's might, in which all of his technology and protection lies, or so the legend goes.
I can never figure out if Daniel is nearsighted or farsighted because he takes off his glasses at really weird times. They're in a cave, it's dark, and his glasses suddenly are off. And then sometimes he's in a situation and he's like, oh no, I need my glasses. I'm like, what? When do you need your glasses? Because I am very confused
I think
when
it's
you
more
need
a
them.
vibe thing.
Maybe,
Isn't that how eyes work?
maybe the sarcophagus healed him and he's just putting it on. I don't
show,
know.
yeah.
I don't, like, do you think he's one of those that just has empty frames?
Spectacles.
Yes.
Like Ted Mosby. My spectacles!
Chameleon. Sorry.
Anyway, so while spying on the Jaffa, Jack finally asks what's with the heads because he's looking through the looking glass and he sees one of the heads and he recognizes it from on Abydos, so one of the metallic heads that can fold inward. And it is, so at least Teal'c fills him in, they are the guards of Horus and they guard the family of Ra. So Teal'c says they're probably protecting Heroer, the son of Ra and Hathor.
Which is an impressive lineage.
Then they hear struggles behind them and Olaf is being grabbed by Jafar.
God damn it, Olaf.
But he is standing up to them. He's telling them that his god is Thor. And the lead Jafar opens his helmet and it reveals that he's actually a Gwauld. And he wants to know who came through the Stargate and he starts torturing him.
And I love Olaf is like, my god taught me not to kneel, that I didn't have to kneel. And he also taught me not to be afraid. I'm like, man, Olaf is a badass.
Yeah, I thought for sure he was gonna die.
Yeah, and then he didn't. Good for him.
Teal'c and Jack intervene and they all run off. And then Teal'c has this really cool moment that he stops and turns around and he has a stare off with Heroer.
I like Heroer. Like we only had him for a little while in this episode, but he immediately is a presence. Like, he's probably gonna come back and
it's very obvious he's more of a warrior.
Yeah.
He leads from the front.
Yeah, because you were confused, like, wait, that's him? Like, why is he in armor? I'm like, they just said he's a warrior.
Yeah.
He's a warrior.
So that's actually
ruler.
pretty cool because we're used to the world leading from behind. Like, they're in their ships and they send wave after Jaffa. But here we have Heroer and he's there. He's in the thick of it. He's actually fighting. So cool. But yeah, we didn't see a lot of him. So in the cave, they are going over their problems. It is explained that Heroer is a conqueror and the pyramids are landing pads for their ships. And they expect big ships with lots of gliders to arrive any moment, which means trouble. Daniel mentions at this point the Hall of Thor's Might, a legend that might help him, and that there might be alien weapons there, but Jack doesn't really believe any of it. So Gerwin takes Sam and Daniel to a, what is it actually, a pedestal
Hang
or a
on,
statue?
you just completely skipped over the fact that they said, let's wait here until things calm down, and Teal'c said, things will not calm down, they will calm up.
Well, I have you to fill in my blanks. I am writing a lot of text here.
It was just so, he just like stone-faced said it like, like, I know how, English works. I love him so much. And I love having Teal'c. It's such a great way of dropping snippets of lore whenever you need it, as now. But it's never too heavy-handed. Or it's never just like Teal'c going like, oh, I remember something I didn't know five episodes ago. No, he's very consistent in what he knows. And he also doesn't always know everything, which makes sense.
Yeah, and the fact that he's not a big talker gives you the perfect excuse. Like, why didn't you tell this before? Like, you didn't ask. Stuff like that, you can really get away with a lot.
Or it wasn't relevant, or I thought it was a legend, or it was only a rumor, or...
Which is good, because if you have this character that knows everything, then it doesn't work. You need to have some fallibility in there. And
like, even with Daniel, like, he's always like, oh, I know about the history, but even there, sometimes it's just proven that he's completely off, or...
Anyway, Gerwin takes Sam and Daniel to... Well, she's supposed to take him to the Hall of Thor, of Thor's might, excuse me. But it is like a statue in the forest or a pedestal or whatever you call it, a carving. And it looks a lot like Thor's hammer from the previous episode. So they're a bit confused because there's no hall. But Daniel, of course, immediately says it might be a transporter like last time. And it touches the stone in the thing.
Because it's forbidden to touch the stone. So.
And they are beamed into a dark place, like a pitch black place.
And this is when you get the obstacle temple course. I love those things.
They end up being in a room, and there's another one of those pedestals there, and a hologram of Thor appears.
Which, did they really get that actor back? Because it's the same actor.
Yeah.
And he plays it very well because he's very much like an NPC that you encounter somewhere.
Yeah, because and he, of course he has this like, you have to prove yourself worthy.
Like, oh, I have a hammer, let me just lift it. And
then the floor of the hall falls away, leaving a narrow bridge from their position to the pedestal on the other side. And then at the same time, Teal'c and Jack are placing explosives all over the forest for the coming attack. So this is a bit of cross-cutting. Sam walks, she's the first one to walk across the beam. Yes, you had notes on that.
They always do that in movies. Like, it's a very narrow beam, and they go like this, like they're acrobats. Like, no, go low. Hug that thing, lower your point of gravity, scoot over as low as you can. Like, what are you doing? Like, just hug it, and you don't have to look graceful. That's not the point of the exercise. Anyway.
Yeah.
But they do that in every show, so.
Yeah. She makes it across, and then next is Gerwin. And suddenly there's a rumble, and she drops to the ground, scared, and she's holding onto the bridge. And Daniel says, I will go over, and he starts crossing over to help her. But she panics, and they both fall off, revealing that the floor is back, and there was no danger. So the hologram appears again, and he tells them that this was a test of braveness and selflessness. So helping Gerwin proved that they were worthy. And now there is a test of wisdom, and then they get beamed to yet another room.
I do like how both parts of the team have a very clear quest here.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they split up the team just to have both of them have something to do, and it's slightly clunky. But here it's very much like, okay, we're going for the knowledge, and we're going for that kind of knowledge.
And the team is built up that it is a very logical thing to do it like that. Jack and Teal'c are going to do the fighting, and they're going to do the thinking. So they end up in a room, and it has a riddle in runes on the wall. So back in the forest, a group of Jaffa arrives, and Olaf wants to fight, but Jack pulls him away, and then he activates the explosives, taking out most of the Jaffa, and the rest is taken out by them with their rifles.
At this point, I have to wonder, they do that, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but many times over the years, we have seen Jaffa being exploded in the forest, and you know how the trick is done. It's like a sort of jumping board. So I'm wondering, is there just one stunt guy who does all of those, and it's just always the same Jaffa?
They have a team, and it's probably because a lot of the same people the whole time.
Because if that's your stunt, if you're the best at that stunt, then you're always going to be that Jaffa, right?
Yeah, but Vancouver has a booming film and television business. They have a lot of studios there. There's a lot of actors there, so they do have a lot of stunt people there also. So I'm thinking they have a semi-fixed team of stunt people that they swap in and out, and probably a lot of them always play Jaffa or always play soldiers in the SGC.
Yeah,
it's a living.
Well, yeah, no,
if you can do that on a television show, like...
Yeah. It must look great on your resume, like flying Jaffa.
But those kind of action scenes are a staple of SG-1. It was a little bit like action at that time on television. That was it. You had explosives and people being thrown around shooting.
It was still very cool. I mean, before that, we had... I mean, I love Cena, but all the rocks were styrofoam. Like, I mean, everything has its staple of thing that, like, after a while, you're like, oh, here it is again. But
it works.
It works.
It works. It was well done. I love in one of the, I think it's in episode 200 where they go do the fake TV show and you have one of the actual directors plays a director in the background who's always wanting bigger explosions, and it's like a running joke, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger until he's like, I think he blows himself up or something at the end, or is singed or something, and that was actually what was going on in the show. They were always trying to up
Get
themselves,
bigger,
and the explosions would get bigger. But probably not yet because they're still in season 2. So
We're not there yet.
But yeah. Anyway, Olaf is very impressed by their shooting skills because it is like thunder and fire, so it's like Thor. He then throws his axe at the last Jaffa standing, taking him out in one swoop.
That was a cool throw.
Yeah.
I do have one note, Olaf. You totally didn't pick up your axe before you ran away. And if this was an RPG game, like, and your next battle scene came up and you said, I take my axe, your GM would smile and be like, you don't have your axe anymore, Olaf. You didn't pick it up after the last battle.
It's sticking in the Jaffa 2 kilometers back.
You didn't pick it up. I mean, I've learned my lesson. Like I shoot him and he goes like, you didn't reload last time. Like, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the hall, Sam wants to know if Daniel can solve the riddle. Sorry, not the rhythm, the riddle.
They're gonna have a dance party.
But because they have a bit of a time crunch, and the first rune is about Thor's hammer. The last one is about Thor's chariot, so that's one of the name drops. He thinks it might be a spaceship, and the 2 runes in the middle he's not quite sure of. Then they go to another wall, and there are 4 geometric shapes: a triangle, a circle, a square, and I think
a hexagon.
Yeah.
I like how with the runes, like this is one of the first time Daniel actually translates something he finds in a temple in a way that's logical. Like he doesn't just walk up to hieroglyphics and be like, oh, this says, and then gives us a perfect text, because that's not how translations work. He literally goes this time like, this rune could mean this or this or this depending on context, and this could also mean this or this depending on context, which is a lot more like how languages work. Like if you're gonna say, like even in the English language, if I say have a great day, you're gonna feel nice, right? If I say enjoy your next 24 hours, that's a whole different vibe. Yeah, there you go.
But Daniel is a little bit confused because this is not a language, these are shapes, so it's completely different. And then Gerwin finds a wall that has pictographs on it. So they're all different, and Daniel doesn't really know what to do. At this point, the hologram appears and tells him there's no shame, time will help them learn. But Daniel brushes him off. He says, so he starts thinking, and he says, some of the runes are also numbers, and he translates the numbers.
And he did it, and I'm like, that's pi.
Yeah.
I was very
but he
happy.
needed Sam to tell him
Yeah, it was like,
that the number was
yeah,
pi. It was
she's like, it's pi.
3.14 point, and then
Yeah.
like 2 more numbers or something.
Yeah.
But again, they have to explain to an alien being what pi is, because it is a human thing.
This is
we
also,
call it.
That's what I was confused about, because it turns out the runes spell out pi, and then they have to go to the circle, which is sand in the middle, and then they have to draw the circumference.
Yeah.
The radius.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because that's what pi is. And I'm like, okay, this is a cool riddle, but how is this society supposed to know to ever learn this? Where are they gonna learn it? Math doesn't grow on trees, right?
No, but math is a constant. Math is math. You can't.
Okay.
So the idea is that they evolve to a point where their science is on a high enough level that they know all these things, that they know these concepts, because you can find these concepts in nature. They have to translate pi to something that an alien life form can understand, because that is normal. We call this pi. It's just a word, but the universal constant, the mathematical constant, is the same. And this is actually, I love this part, because they do the same thing in Alien Earth with the fucking sheep, And there the supposedly smart guy just yells at the sheep, pie, it's a circle. And the sheep understands him and they just go on their merry way. And I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. That sheep, or, well, it's not the sheep, it's the Teal'c. He doesn't know our language. He doesn't know our mathematical concepts. And here they actually go into that. And
that series made you so angry.
Oh, it made me so angry.
You're still very angry. I can just feel the heat of your anger resurfacing.
But I saw this and I was like, oh, this is so clever because it is very simple. They go to the circle and they draw the relation that pi has to the radius, and then a button is revealed.
All right.
And the hologram dissipates, and there is Thor standing there as his real self, a small, pale alien, which Sam remarks looks an awful lot like the Roswell aliens.
It's our first look at the Asgard, and that puppet is really cool.
Yeah, and I believe they keep using puppets throughout the series.
The
they
Asgard,
might use a little bit of CGI when there's masses, and
when they have to stand up.
When you see their legs, yeah.
When they stand up.
But that puppet is amazing.
That puppet is awesome.
Do you know who voices him?
No.
Michael Shanks.
What?
So when he's talking to Thor, he's actually talking to himself.
Okay.
It's just a little tidbit. So on the surface, the Jaffa have located the caves and they are moving in. Yeah, there's a lot of cross-cutting going on. So Gerwin tells Thor that the others helped her find him. And Sam says, like, no, it's a hologram. He can't hear you. But Thor says that he's not a hologram.
I just immediately knew that it wasn't a hologram. And Sam's like, it's a hologram, darling. Oh, no, Sam, don't embarrass yourself.
Yeah, he is aboard his ship and he's speaking to them directly. So Daniel tells them they need help, that the planet is under attack of the Goa'uld. And he goes like, that's not possible. I placed a weapon there in protection. He's like, we kind of broke your weapon.
And then Thor goes, we did not anticipate outside interference, which, fair, but,
And Daniel says like, hey, we passed your test. Where are the weapons? But Thor is like, he acts really appalled. He's like, no, this test was to see if the Cimmerians reached a level of technology to find out his true form. It was never about weapons.
Yeah, also, I think kind of you fail automatically, Daniel, when you start asking about weapons.
Yeah, and so they get beamed out and they notice that Gerwin is not with them anymore. Then we cut back to the Jaffa. They are outside the caves and they start a barrage. They have like these staff weapon cannons that they have, and they're shooting.
And then inside the cave, you have this very neat trick where they just shake the camera a bit and everybody stumbles, and then at the side where you can't see it, like somebody throws dust into the scene. And it works so well, even if you know how it's done.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah.
So the Jaffa are yelling to them to surrender to Heroher. Teal'c remarks they have little choice because they don't really stand a chance, and if they don't, all the people and all the children will be killed.
And then Jack looks back and he sees a kid and he's like, damn it, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that they can't fight this fight.
No, we only see a small group of Jaffa, and that's just for practical and monetary reasons. Back there, right out of frame, there's a whole army.
Yeah, I
mean... You can't see them, but they're there.
And Olaf doesn't have his axe anymore.
Yeah,
so
yeah, they're out of options. So yeah, SG-1 surrenders, and while they are led to the pyramids, thunder rolls in, and the sky darkens, and a ship descends. It is an Asgard mothership, and Teal'c says, "Oh, I only heard of it in Jaffa legend." And Thor beams out all of the Jaffa. He destroys the pyramids, and he beams down Gerwin. We also have a quick shot of Heroher standing at the Stargate, and I think it's active at that point.
Yeah.
And he's looking at the slaughter and leaves.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it the slaughter because he just beams all the Jaffa out.
Yeah, it's very much implied that he takes care of them, but in a peaceful way.
Yeah.
The Asgard are maybe at war with the Goa'uld, but they're not a violent people.
It would be cool. I don't. It never happens, but it would be so cool if they somehow stumbled upon a planet in one of their travels and find that all the Jaffa had just been dropped there. And then they started a society because they had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
That would be funny. But yeah, the new villain lives to loom another day.
And then Gerwin tells them that Thor's species does indeed has visited Earth, and he knows them well, and that the Asgard are a protector species of all except the Goa'uld with whom they are at war. She also tells them that a new Thor's hammer will be built, but it will make an exception for the one named Teal'c, because he is always welcome there.
Ah, shucks.
Yeah, and that's about the point where we cut to credits.
Yep. That was a really good one. I liked it.
Yeah, it does so much work. It introduces a new villain. It follows up on something that we remarked last time, like they just left these people without protection. So yeah, that does have consequences.
Yeah.
And yeah, it deepens the lore. I think this is the first time we see an Asgard,
Yes.
because last time it was only the hologram. So this is our first real look at Thor, and they will become a big player. And I've always loved the Asgard.
Well, this is very much we're setting things up for the future season, because this is only episode 6. And so far, we've had a mad scientist on the loose. We have the Asgards somewhere out there. We now have a new villain on the board. Like, there's a lot of setup. There's the... oh, crap, I forgot the name. The Goa'uld Resistance. The Tok'ra.
Yeah.
There's a lot of setup.
Yeah, they will definitely be coming
Yeah,
back.
so this is very much like we're setting up a lot of stuff. So.
I think they're finding their groove. Okay, we complained about the last few episodes, but they are finding their groove with the world, with the characters. They just need to tighten their scripts a little bit, and this was a really good one.
Yeah, but again, I mean, it's only season 2. Like, it is a work in progress. So what's the next episode called?
The next episode will be Message in a Bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
The song? Or
No, I do remember that one. I'm really curious to see how that holds up. That is a Jack-centric episode, so
okay.
could be interesting. Yeah.
Well, so far I have yet to see a Jack-centric episode that isn't interesting.
So yeah, that was it for this week's episode of the podcast, and we'll hope to see you again next week.
Yeah.
This is a weird sentence.
It's okay. Just wave.
See you then. Bye.